Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think
Good evening. I'd like to call the May 27, 2014 City of Gardner Planning Commission meeting to order. Would you please stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with roll call on my right.
Barber here. Gilmore here.
Mater here.
Lavella here.
Weatherford here. Lammer here.
Quorum is present. Is into the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Planning Commission for study. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted upon by one motion with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item from either the Planning Commission or from the floor, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. Are there any items that any member of the commission would like to have removed from the consent agenda? No. Are there any items that a member of the public would like to have removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda made by Barber with a second by Gilmore. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with all in favor. Moving on to new business. Item number 1, FDP-14-02, revised final development plan for University Park Edition number 2. Consider a revised final development plan for University Park Edition number 2, an approximately 10-acre duplex development located on the southeast corner of West 164th Street and University Drive, fronting on Blair Street, submitted by Craig Schaefer on behalf of property owners of record of the properties on the east side of Blair Street. Do we have a staff presentation?
Good evening, Commissioners. Travis Hulse, Planning Technician. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention the item number is shown on the agenda. FDP 14-01 is appropriately stated by the chairman, should read FDP 14-02, and is the same case for when a motion is made. The application that was submitted with the proposed project for a revised final development plan is located north of 167th Street in White Drive. It is zoned currently as RP2, which is our residential plan 2-family district. The specific subject property encompasses the lots highlighted in red that are a part of a larger development plan of approximately 10 acres, all zoned and platted under the same RP2 designation. This is a part of a final development plan that was originally approved and presented to the Planning Commission back in 2007. The applicant has requested a slight modification to one of the conditions of approval, and I will provide that at the end, as well as some background and history with the project in particular. But that the request and stated project is specific to, again, the area highlighted in red. So with the final development plan, there were two, Exhibit A and Exhibit B, being the development plan and the elevations as provided in the staff report. As you'll see in the development plan, it provides for the landscaping to be provided, the location of the landscaping, as well as the overall development areas shown in the previous slides. For a little better idea as to what that would look like, I have provided that landscape detail in the bottom right corner that highlights trees, shrubbery, and so forth to be installed and planted with each individual building permit application as approved through the Community Development Office. When the final development plan was originally approved, there were no design standards in place at that time. These landscaping standards were noted to comply with all landscaping regulations by staff and to meet all of the standards at that point in time. Nothing is being proposed to change from this development plan, but will remain as you see here. Exhibit B is specific to elevations and floor plans that were approved with the development plan at that point in time. This is the particular subject that the applicant would like to request changes to the conditions of approval. Again, specific to those lots, which I will show here on the next slide. The elevations are a little bit unique to a typical development plan. Being that there were no design standards in place, these elevations allowed the city to have a knowledge and security as to what was going to go there, what it was going to look like, to have a unity and a good idea of what to expect. So these particular elevations were approved at that point in time and required for any building to occur in the future that they would comply with these elevations. Now, I provided just one example. There's actually 5 variations. They all look very similar to this, and they are all provided again within your staff report. But to give you kind of an idea of what was proposed, basically single-family duplex with entrances on opposite sides of the building, and as well as garages, as you can see. Currently, at this site, there are 7 such duplexes built and established as shown with these blue areas on those parcels and those lots specifically. The rest of the lots have remained vacant since 2007. The site along the east side of Blair Street that the applicant has requested a modification to the condition of approval, asking that the elevations be removed from these specific lots, so that instead of the building and development having to comply with those specific 5 elevations, instead they would be reviewed based on the Gardner design standards. Staff recommendation, we find that the development to be in accordance with Exhibit A as the final development plan, and that would encompass the entire site, not just the lots specifically stated, but that the remaining lots, not a part of the proposed project, would still require to follow those building elevations, and that would be reviewed by staff when building permit applications were submitted. Item number 2 is, and the remaining items 2 through 4 have been carried over from the previous recommendation by Planning Commission. They were not proposed to be changed by the applicant, so staff did not feel that it was necessary to change those, but to bring those over with the revised final development plan as proposed. Item 2, specifically in reference to lots along University Drive, so does not apply to any of the properties in question, and that is elevations needing to provide for more masonry materials It was an aesthetic concern that those lots backing up to University Drive would provide, again, for good design standards and good measures in that area. And then the remainders, 3 through 4. It's the recommendation of staff to approve the revised final development plan for University Park Edition Number 2. Again, FDP 14-02, subject to those following conditions, 1 through 4. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have a applicant presentation?
Good evening, guys. Travis covered everything that I wanted to say as well. So basically, all we want to do is lift that final design plan that's in place and build to Gardner design standards. I live here in Gardner, lived here for 5 or 6 years, and I see a lot of opportunities in this city for people. I own about 9 different rental houses